Hey guys, I just want to take a few minutes to discuss the project that you're going to be working on Monday and Tuesday. The project is uploaded in Edmodo, so if you go to Folders and D.C Project, this is where you will find the requirements that I'm going to discuss. Later on, you will also see the link to this video in here in case you need to reference it again. I will talk about how to hyperlink something in a PowerPoint, so you may want to look it up later on in the project. This is what the requirements look like. So you will be putting together a PowerPoint presentation that takes the viewer through what you think are the highlights of the DC trip. It's completely individualized, so you will not be doing anything the same as the person sitting next to you. Um, you must include 7 places or well, not 7 things, but you can also include items, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But you need 7 pieces of interest to discuss in your project. Extra credit will be awarded for up to 5 points for topics that go beyond this requirement. So if you decide to do 12, for example, they need to be 12 good presentations, not 7 good ones, and then, ooh, I can get extra credit, and you kind of slap some things together. I want everything to be of the same caliber, or else I'm not going to give extra credit. And I have an example I'm going to show in a little bit. So your presentation needs to follow these 5 guidelines. So you need to have a title slide, just has the title of the project and your name. You need to have an outline slide that lists the places or items that you will discuss in your presentation. That way the viewer knows what's coming. You need to have content slides, and those are the slides that give the detail on each of the things in your outline. They need to follow your outline. So if you have Mount Vernon and then the FDR Memorial and then the U.S. Capitol, they need to go in that order. You can't jump around and jumble everything. If you do, you need to change your outline. In your explanation on each slide, you need to answer these questions. You can do it in any order that you wish, as long as in the slides for that particular topic of discussion, you cover all of these points. So somewhere you need to say why the place had an effect on you. You need to give the reader some kind of history on the location or item that you're discussing. So this is where it will require a bit of research from you. I don't want you to pull it off the top of your head. Things need to be cited. And you need to do a works cited. As you can see down at the bottom, works cited. You need to tell the reader why you thought this place was significant. So in some way it's linked to the first point, why did it affect you? But it might not have had an effect on you. However, you think that us being able to visit that place has significance to Americans as a whole. So they're kind of separate. If they're linked, great. If not, you need to go that route. You need to use bullets, a bulleted list of sentences, not paragraphs. It's too hard to read. You need to have 4 to 6 main bullets per slide. And you need to have a minimum of 2 slides per item of discussion and no more than 4. That way it keeps it limited and you don't go overboard and don't finish. So, quick little example. This is my model. So, title slide. This is my outline. So, this is the order of things that I'm going to discuss. And this is an example of the first slide. So, Mount Vernon, I have 5 different main things that I discuss. And this is, not a, so when I say main bullets of discussion, this is not a main bullet. So this is extra information that relates to the main bullet above it, but it can't really stand on its own. So you can do this however you wish. I just suggest that you try to make it as least cluttered as possible. Pick a background that works. Obviously this one, there's too much in it because it covers it up on the bottom. And just, you want to be short, sweet, and to the point. Going back to the requirements. You need to include at least 1 graphic per slide. The graphic must represent the content of your slide. So on this slide, I chose to just have a picture of Mount Vernon. Now I can't use it again, so I have to have 2 slides on this topic. The next slide has to have something different pertaining to Mount Vernon. So I could have also had a picture of George Washington. I could have a picture of his wife Martha. I could have had a picture of the Key or the Marquis de Lafayette. All of this fits with what I'm discussing, so there's a lot of different ways you can find pictures. You need to have 1 hyperlinked video somewhere in your project. It doesn't mean you have to have 1 video per discussion point, it just means you have to have 1 video somewhere that talks about one of your topics. So here's where I show you how to hyperlink things. Now this is already hyperlinked, so I'm going to undo it so I can show you from scratch. So all that you do is you highlight where you want to put the hyperlink. and then you go to the website that you've chosen your video on. So this one happens to be a little bit of background information on George Washington. It's not specifically about Mount Vernon, but it describes his life in a little bit more detail, which is why we care so much about his house. You highlight the entire web address, you copy it, then you go back to the PowerPoint presentation, you right click on what you've previously highlighted, and you go to hyperlink right here, and then you paste your web address in where it says address and the cursor is automatically blinking there. So you paste it, you hit OK, and that is how you make a hyperlink. So this is exactly how I put the videos into your notes every single week. And you need to include some form of non-distracting animations where appropriate. Just like the project from when I was gone on the 7th grade trip, I didn't require you to have a certain amount of animations or a certain kind. You need to use them appropriately, and don't make it where, you know, you zigzag the words all over the page for 10 minutes and then they land. Just put them in where appropriate. You need to have some, but this isn't going to be the major chunk of your grade. Next thing, you need to have a conclusion slide. So you need to make a paragraph on your conclusion slide. This is where the writing component comes in. That is a minimum of 8 sentences that explains why this was a worthwhile trip. Now, it needs to be meaningful. I don't want this to be, like I even said it here, don't be cheesy, don't be stereotypical, and you need to write with some meaning. If there is no sense of you feeling that this DC trip was beneficial to you in your paragraph, I will think that the trip was not worthwhile, because that's the tone you are giving by making it, oh, I had fun, I got to hang with my friends, we rode on a plane, we ate out every day in a mall. You know, that isn't deep, it's not meaningful, and you are 8th graders and you walked away with this trip learning something. I want to know what that is. Okay, and you also, I didn't write this in there, you need to avoid the silly things. So don't say, oh, I need to learn, I learned that I need to um, keep track of my buddies. You know, I think we all know what I'm getting at. Just keep it on topic, relate it to the things that you discussed in your PowerPoint. Your very last slide is going to be your works cited slide. So you can do one of two things. You can either make your works cited right in the slide, make it formatted appropriately, and using citation machine, making it look like it's supposed to, or you can do it as a Word document and hyperlink it into your PowerPoint just like you did a video. So let's say here that I want to take the previous hyperlink that I had, and instead of making it go to a video, I want to make it go to something else. So this is a Word document that I use for my 6th grade class. If I click on that, it puts the location where the document was saved on my computer. So when you do this, you need to actually have the works cited page saved onto your student drive. Find it, put it in there, hit OK, and now whenever I click on it, it will pull up the Word document. So here is kind of the timeline of events. So day one, I'll expect you to already have watched the video before you walk into class. So you can just come into class, boom, you're ready to go. So you need to make a list of the places that we visited that you wish to include in your presentation. I will have our itinerary linked up in Edmodo so that you can use that as reference. You need to conduct research as you move. So let's say I started off with Mount Vernon. I need to go and research Mount Vernon, do my slides, make my works cited as I go on to the next subject. Otherwise, you're going to hate yourself in the end, and you're going to have to go on a hunt and peck mission to find all the websites you used. You need to make a works cited as you go, proofread it as you go. You need to make, I said create first set of slides as you research, so that would be like me making my Mount Vernon slides, since it's my first topic. Towards the end of class, you need to make sure you email your project to yourself. This is not, I mean, some of you have a Mac and you don't have Word or Microsoft Office for Mac. This is just for safekeeping. So let's say you accidentally save it to the wrong place in class. Well, I'm not here. I can't help you find it. But if you emailed it to yourself, that's a backup plan. So it's either to back it up, or if you really feel the need to work on it at home because something distracted you in class, that's another option. Now this is important. You need to email me at the end of class on Monday telling me what you have done in the project and or what you have left. Okay? This is the only way I'll get feedback from you because I'm not in class. And if it's like an overwhelmingly, we need an extra day because we didn't get very far because there were technological glitches and, things started crashing in class, that's the only way I'm going to know. So you have to email me, and based on everybody's email, not just one or two, I'll make a decision as to whether or not we need to do this on Wednesday as well. I'm not guaranteeing anything. So don't think because you give me this long drawn out email of how you got nothing done, that doesn't necessarily say that I'm going to give extra time. If I only get one or two that say that and the rest of the class says, dude, we're awesome, we're going to finish this, that tells me that you messed around. So you know what I'm getting at by now. Now, the important part is underlined. If you do not email me, I will take off 5 points on your final grade. Okay? Since this is my only line of communication with you is through email on Monday, I'm taking this very seriously. So you must do it. It doesn't have to be long, just a couple sentences. So the second day, it's kind of obvious, but you need to make sure that you keep researching and finish making your slides. Go back through the checklist up here. Make sure that you have everything fulfilled. So when you think you're finished, go through and go, do I have a title slide? Do I have an outline slide? How do my content slides do this? Do they do this? Is my conclusion in paragraph form? Did I write as well as I could have? Etc. Okay, do you have at least one video link? I just don't want you to forget about that. And did you write your conclusion paragraph? And then you're going to submit your project through Edmodo. I will have an assignment posted on the home page for you to use. You just need to open it, attach your PowerPoint file, and hit submit. If you have any questions about this project, please email me. I will be able to check it as we go.